The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a grandpa climbs a tree in protest of the Kinder Morgan pipeline.
And another victim of gang violence in Surrey.
And a Vancouver food truck owner is concerned about rising gas prices. Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Kristy Schiewe.
And I'm Grayson Rudzki. RCMP say violent crime in Surrey has increased by more than 43% since January. The most recent victim was a man who lost his life due to gang violence. Maria Vinca has the story.
These flowers mark the spot of the latest victim of gang violence in Surrey. This has been the second shooting in the same week.
The latest reported shooting happened last Friday near 176th and Abbey Street. According to police, the victim was shot to death right here, right behind me. Police also believe that this could have been a targeted shooting, but is yet to be known. The victim's identity has not yet been released, but he was known to be a young man in his 20s.
This is a quiet, upscale neighborhood in North Surrey, but it too is no longer immune to violent crime. Since January, violent crimes in Surrey have risen by 43%, and according to Surrey RCMP, most crimes are gang-related.
Of these assaults are being committed by people known to each other, so it's important for the public to know that.
Surrey Crime Prevention Society is determined to counter the recent spike in gang violence, and over the past 4 years, 1,500 youth have come through its programs.
They're making a difference. I mean, they recover stolen vehicles, we identify assaults in progress, all these different things. We never get involved. We always call the professionals in.
Between the neighborhood programs and police patrols, some Surrey residents still feel safe.
I feel like, yeah, we are protected. Like in 5 years, I'm living in Surrey in 5 years, only once or twice I felt like I'm threatened.
But the threats are still very real for this neighborhood and the victim's family after last Friday's shooting. Maria Vinca in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Maria Vinca joins us now. Maria, is the public at risk?
RCMP say most of the shootings and homicides are gang-related. However, there have been reports of innocent lives that have been taken due to mistaken identity. Grayson?
And what do public officials think about this uptick in crime?
Mayor Doug McCallum is planning on transitioning from an RCMP to a civic police force. He's hoping that this will improve the number of police officers throughout the city. Back to you.
Thanks, Maria. A Vancouver duo has launched a surprising new product as an alternative to single-use plastic straws. My co-anchor Kristy Schiewe explains how this food creation might help save the planet.
This local couple is creating pasta straws as an eco-friendly solution as Vancouver comes closer to a citywide ban on plastics. But how do they stack up against plastic straws?
We often get is, do they taste like pasta? And they don't. So there's no taste. They're not going to fold at the ends. And the best part to us is you can eat it at the end. So there's zero waste with Strawgetti. Yeah, we eat it.
Labeled Strawgetti, the straws are an all-natural alternative to eliminating the use of plastic, which Vancouver Council voted to ban this June. But after multiple setbacks, they pushed the move to 2020 to give businesses more time to adapt to the change. Vancouver's Zero Waste Plan aims to reduce waste from single-use items such as disposable straws, plastic bags, takeout containers, and utensils by 2040. Canadians throw out approximately 57 million plastic straws each day, and that's one of the reasons why Vancouver is making the switch from plastic straws to more eco-friendly alternatives. While some are trying to reduce their plastic use, it seems it's harder for others to drop their old habits.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do use plastic straws. I get Starbucks almost every day. Honestly, introducing a ban for all plastic might be a little bit difficult given how much we still have plastic used in everything, but plastic straws, like that's a little thing. We can easily do that.
The Strawgetty founders believe that the change is hard but possible.
But we do go door to door on our spare time, and we're introducing our cocktail and our tall drinking straws to restaurants throughout the Lower Mainland. Our goal is to see this in every restaurant in the Lower Mainland to start.
Kristy, Schiewe in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
A local food truck owner is struggling to pay the bills due to rising gas prices. As my co-anchor Grayson Rudzki found out, Vancouverites might be paying more at restaurants if fuel prices don't go down.
Arturo Rarula is the owner of Arturo's To Go food truck. Every Monday, he's serving Emily Carr.
Oh, just the water? Since I was 15, I work on the food.
The food truck travels throughout Metro Vancouver, and the increase in gas prices are putting him in a tough spot.
Right now, for example, with the prices today, I'm adding $100 to $120 a month on top of my expenses, already my fuel expenses. $1,000, $1,200 a year, right? $1,000 is a lot of burritos to sell.
Food suppliers across the board are predicted to pass these gas rates onto restaurants of all kinds. Ian Tossenson of the BC Restaurant and Food Services Association predicts businesses will be altering their menu prices to reflect rising gas expenses. Arturo has been trying to avoid that by investing in electric power to supplement his natural gas.
It's another food trucks, they have to use the generator full time, otherwise it will not work. But we invest on our electrical system. We spend around $16,000 on it to set it up.
While moving around the city is more expensive, the mobility is still a selling point here at Emily Carr.
Because food truck always changes every day, so it gives me different options, whereas cafeteria has always the same food.
I don't have a cafeteria, there's not a lot of choices around here.
Arturo has the mentality that customer satisfaction will trump cost.
The point is, if people like the cooking, that's the point. It doesn't matter if I think I'm pretty good. If I'm pretty good, it's just to me. It's like a self-motivation, though.
Time will tell if rising gas prices will force Arturo to pass costs onto the customer. And if that happens, who knows how much business will be driven away. Grayson Rudzki in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, a social studies teacher digs deep into Indigenous issues.
And Burnaby first responders plan ahead for grad celebrations.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
The most rewarding thing for me has been the relationships I developed in the program, both with instructors and classmates.
My sense of confidence has never been higher. I mean, this program has offered great opportunities to be in real world, real industry situations, and being in those moments and knowing I can contribute, I can do this.
It's exciting to be in this industry and to meet lots of great people and to make amazing friends.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, realizing your potential.
Welcome back. A 71-year-old grandfather could face jail time for climbing a tree to protest the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Michelle Dillon brings us the story.
Prayers are lifted to show support for Terry Christensen's cause. This protesting grandpa climbed a tree inside Westridge Marine Terminal early Monday morning.
I'm doing this for the grandchildren, all the grandchildren of the world. Climate change will impact them far greater than it will impact me.
100 feet below him is an emergency response team attempting a high-angle rescue to safely arrest him.
The demonstrator was arrested after climbing a tree that was within Trans Mountain site. This was in breach of a court-ordered injunction that stated that any protesters could not be within 5 meters of a Trans Mountain site.
The protest has gotten the attention of spectators who anticipate the moment Terry will be brought down. Supporters like Stand Earth liaison Sven Biggs explains he's putting his roping skills for a timely issue.
We're approaching an important deadline. The federal cabinet will be making a decision in June about whether or not to reissue the permits and restart the construction for the pipeline.
In a tweet, Terry says he fears climate change more than jail, and Canada can do better for the next generation.
This is kind of a message for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Canada has to stop building dirty pipelines.
Michelle DeLeon in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Michelle DeLeon joins us now. Michelle, what happened to the protesting grandpa after his arrest?
Terry Christensen was brought to Burnaby RCMP, where he was later released Wednesday afternoon. He has a court hearing scheduled for May 23rd. Kristy?
And is he planning to keep protesting?
He is consulting with his legal team to possibly do another activism project before his court hearing. Just for now, he has a GoFundMe page set up to help with legal costs. Back to you.
Thanks, Michelle. A Coquitlam teacher is using her passion for social justice to teach students the reality of Indigenous issues. Tiana Mohebi has the story.
This teacher at Dr. Charles Best Secondary School has created her own unit on Indigenous affairs. Social studies teacher Maria Bruno was shocked to find out Indigenous history was almost completely disregarded in the textbook.
People would always tell me, oh, like, social studies 10 is so boring, it's Canadian history. And when I started to look deeper, I'm like, well, it's boring because there's a big truth that's been hidden from our history books.
Students in BC have been learning more on Indigenous issues since the new curriculum was put in place last year. But hearing about it doesn't always mean fully understanding. Bruno isn't the only one opening up a wider conversation about Indigenous rights.
True reconciliation requires courage, audacity, innovation, and a different approach to politics.
Even if it's taking time, Bruno's classroom goes to show that the next generations are more engaged.
And even though maybe we're not from that race, maybe we're not from that culture, we still affect each other.
And it definitely was a shocker to hear like all the different kinds of abuse and like things that happened in it.
Like how much language and culture was lost within that time.
Bruno uses current Indigenous affairs to teach students that trauma caused by residential schools and the Indian Act still continues today. Healing after decades of abuse and assimilation will no doubt take time. But whether it's ditching a textbook or delivering a speech to all of Canada, it's these acts that make the difference in getting youth involved in reconciliation.
Right. And so
Bruno's passion for social justice radiates not only through her students, but all around them too. I'm Tiana Mohebi in Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
Students at BCIT are being challenged to find ways to make campus sustainable and improve their well-being in the process. Nick Empey has the story.
BCIT really is a community that grows together and learns together.
Erin Patrick is a BCIT student working on her third diploma and is just one student competing in a challenge.
How you want to develop that?
The challenge? Making BCIT more sustainable and promoting accessible green space to promote well-being.
I've thought about the ways that I could possibly give back to my community over the years, and it seemed like a really great thing. It fit in with what I wanted to be doing.
Over 2 days, students are expected to propose changes for the track, dorms, Gishon Creek, and the community garden.
Parking. So maybe parking should be number 4.
These students are coming from multiple disciplines to collaborate and create change.
I think one of the things that people really like about it is that they get to work on something that's a real life issue. They're making a real difference. The solutions and things they come up with can really have a positive impact.
Solutions will be presented in front of a panel of industry representatives. The winners will get to attend the EcoCity conference in September.
Being able to have this final challenge in my final year of BCIT happen on BCIT. It's very full circle.
I'm Nick Empey in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Some Vancouver residents are campaigning for a new sculpture in Dude Chilling Park. Savannah Erasmus visited the park to see what the fuss is all about.
After a successful petition in 2012 to rename Guelph Park to Dude Chilling Park, it's become a well-known spot for selfies and, yes, for a lot of chilling. A cedar sculpture affectionately known as the Dude sat in the park for 2 decades. A crowdfunding campaign is underway to install a new bronze version that will be here for years to come. Behind me is the platform where the Dude once sat. He was removed in 2017, however, due to deterioration, and the campaign to bring him back will conclude on May 7th. Adrian Sinclair says this is more than a piece of art.
This return of the Dude, and people can get excited about it because it's a really, it's not a snobby piece of art, it's actually really art for the people, and people will feel that they connect with it, and it's for them, and they can feel that they can get involved in appreciating more and more art, and that's a good thing because art brings a sense of belonging, and we need more of that in Vancouver.
Vancouver City Council is not funding this project, says Michael Wiebe.
Because it's a non-commissioned piece, so it was originally donated years ago by Michael Dennis, and it was left in the park, and it became iconic only years and years after.
Despite the challenges, parkgoers may see the Dude chilling in the park again by the summer. I'm Savannah Erasmus in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Burnaby RCMP, first responders, and the school district are launching a campaign to help students celebrate graduation season more safely. Luke McGrath takes a look at their efforts.
Multiple first responders arrived on scene at Alpha Secondary School. No one is injured and there's no emergency. They're here to teach students how to possibly save their lives. The initiative is called Choose Your Ride. Representatives from TransLink, RCMP, as well as Burnaby Ambulance Services were on hand to educate students on being safe during graduation season, when underage substance abuse and impaired driving are big concerns. Many paramedics who deal with tragic graduation fallout believe that students are heavily influenced when it comes to dangerous substances.
Peer pressure, I really think that's what it is that some that have made poor choices bring that to the school and try to spread it around to some of the other kids as well. I think media's got a little to play in this as well. A little bit of everything, and it's up to the school, the parents, the police, us. Spread the word, tell them what the reality of this really is, and then this can lead to the end of your life.
It's a message that isn't totally lost on the students.
And if they see their older sibling doing something, they're going to parties and drinking and stuff, they want to do that as well. Like, I've seen that personally. So I think that they got to teach us to more grades than just the graduation class. Especially after this, they're putting on a really good demonstration here.
It's just a matter of looking out for each other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got each other's backs, so it should be good.
It seems that these students understand that this is no joke, and they need to hold each other accountable.
Burnaby first responders aren't here to make judgments. They just want to make sure that these students know the risks and know how to plan for a safe ride home. I'm Luke McGrath in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up, BCIT engineering students prepare for takeoff.
And how Avengers EndGame has led to a new life for comic books.
Going live in 3, 2, 1. BCIT Television and Video Production. You've got potential.
Welcome to Community Calendar. I'm Caden Fanshaw.
And I'm Erin Laforet. On May 4th, Jedi and Sith alike commemorate the space classic Star Wars. At a loss for how to celebrate? No need to traverse the galaxy. Check out events across Metro Vancouver that are out of this world.
Calling all Earthlings. Get dressed in your Star Wars best and head on down to the H.R. McMillan Space Center. Become a Skywalker and head to the observatory to find galaxies far, far away.
Test your Star Wars knowledge with questions only a true fan can answer. Bad at trivia? Use your Jedi mind tricks to win top prizes.
If trivia isn't the OB1 for you, sit back and relax, grab a bag of corn, and enjoy the films the old-fashioned way. Enjoy Solo, A Star Wars Story, and The Force Awakens.
That was your community calendar for this week.
Stay tuned.
And may the 4th be with you.
Welcome back. A group of high-flying BCIT students are working on something a little different for an upcoming engineering expo. Matthew Avery takes an aerial view.
It's not every day BCIT's Burnaby campus has a homemade drone flying overhead. But these engineering students are working extra hard these days leading up to their annual expo. This group has taken things a step further and built a fully functioning drone.
Well, we all like drones. Who doesn't like drones? They're cool.
These students are also founding members of the BCIT Mechanical Engineering Robotics Club, or MERC, where they focus on concrete, practical work.
Main objective in our department is to have more hands-on project, and the main objective is to have as much as possible more industrial. And as you saw, a couple of them here, most of them are starting from scratch, and hopefully in 4 months, 5 months that we have, they can end up with their prototype.
It's great to have the hands-on experience and to see and put into practice all the things you've actually learned about. And the main reason why we actually joined and made the Mechanical Engineering Robotics Club, because we're the founding year, was because we didn't learn some skills, so we wanted to teach ourselves and have an environment and a club that would support that.
Students will showcase their creations on May 7th here at BCIT. They say they've put hundreds of hours into these projects, and many of them are very excited to show their friends and family what they've accomplished.
I might invite a couple friends. I got a couple friends that are pilots, so they would be very, very interested in seeing this thing happen.
We've been working at this full speed since the beginning of the semester, trying to convince them to go watch a bunch of nerds set up their projects in school.
The team will continue putting the finishing touches on their creation until the big day arrives. Matthew Avery in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
A neighborhood shoe repair store may have to close due to lack of workers. The cobbler says repairing shoes is a dying art. Sarah Wassouf explains.
For nearly 2 decades, Habib Jamshidin has been repairing leather goods and shoes. Today, his store GAM is one of the last standing shoe repair stores in Burnaby.
It's true that some people, they just throw out the shoes, but there's many people who wants to repair the shoes as well.
This woman is one of the many customers that value GAM.
I've been going to shoe repair places my whole life, and if they disappear, it will be a total loss to community.
But they just might. Habib faces the risk of closing down his store. He's been searching for workers for months in hopes of finding someone who has the skill of shoe repair, but has found no luck.
Well, it's hard to find the person who wants to do this job. Whether people don't know that there's a demand for this job, or they just, I don't know, it's hard work that they want to do it.
Close by to GAM is One Love, a thrift store where shoes get donated every day. Volunteer supervisor Matthew Smed says the closing of shoe repair stores would affect his customers.
It's probable that those people that want to go to thrift stores just to find shoes they can repair, it's going to be harder for them to get repairs done, for sure.
But for those who worry about repairing their favorite shoes, Habib is considering a career change that just might revive the dying art.
Well, it came to my mind that maybe I can open a shoe repair school.
This is Sarah Wassouf in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
An untraditional poetry festival is taking place in Vancouver. Nicole Preeb tells us how you can get involved.
There's music.
Anything my writing touches leaves in its wake a wealth of gratitude.
There's poetry and all walks of literary talent at Vancouver's Verses Festival, or what some refer to as the Festival of Words.
We embrace any kind of word-based artist, is how I like to refer to them, wordsmiths of all colors.
What makes this festival unique from the others is the variety of performances that take the stage.
What if it was you, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, or one of your kids?
There's a community around it that is physically right there, listening to you, snapping, cheering, laughing, there to hold you when you're healing, there to heal together, and everyone needs that.
The event, which started in 2011, is Canada's biggest literary festival, but more importantly, a safe and welcoming community for all its artists to share and celebrate their craft.
We seek to create a space where people will feel safe. I think in a lot of other spaces in the world, they would either be shut down for trying to say or abused for trying to say.
It helps us connect to each other on things that we all relate to, that are common, and I think everyone has a story to tell.
The festival runs until the 4th of May and is taking place over multiple East Vancouver venues.
Or a song like It's the Sparrows that feel the sun from its heavy bed each morning.
I'm Nicole Priebe in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
With the new release of Avengers EndGame shattering box office records, Kenneth Pittman visited one of Vancouver's oldest comic book shops to chat about pop culture.
Golden Age Collectibles is a store that offers everything from comics, merchandise, to even action figures. Founded by Pat Shaughnessy, he believes comic books offer a unique twist other art forms cannot.
Comic books are just a great way for people to get into the storytelling, whether their goals is to bring those stories to different media in film or television, or whether they just want to tell them on the printed form. It's a great way to do it.
With the likes of Captain America and Iron Man making waves on the big screen, a generation is growing up seeing these characters as movie stars. Shops like this one aren't as popular as they once were, but the stories they tell have never had more fans. And for some, the movies have become very special.
I love being able to just sit down and have this stuff play out.
Awesome.
And for the next generation, my kids absolutely love these, and it's getting them more into the comic books and stuff too, which is great.
Well, certainly the characters obviously are popular with people, whether they read them in a comic book form or whether they read them digitally or whether they even study the stories on YouTube with Comixology or something like that. You know, it's all part of the same package.
While superhero fans no longer flock to shops like these, it's clear the stories they love will be here to stay for some time to come. Kenneth Pittman in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Floodwaters are still rising around Ottawa. Officials are planning for the possibility of similar disasters in the future. The feds are setting aside $2 billion over the next decade for the projects that would help mitigate or prevent such damage like flooding.
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitnews.com.
That was BCIT Magazine for this week. I'm Grayson Rudzki.
And I'm Kristy Schiewe. Thanks for watching.